Who?
No one's watching.
Yeah, why?
All right. Welcome in, everybody, to another rousing edition of On the Sidelines. My name is Seth Hagan, Hunter Price to my left, and a very special guest here from WJOX, Aaron Daniel here. And we have just got done with SEC Media Days week. Started on Monday, went all the way through Thursday. All 14 teams came through with the coaches. The Hyatt Regency was going crazy there for a little bit, especially when Saban was in the house. It was pure, just, I mean, it was.
Well, the first two
what
days
word am I
didn't
looking
matter
for?
because you had Alabama and Auburn in the last 2 days.
Yeah, and that was the crazy part. I think they on purpose put people that nobody would care about in the first couple of days. Like Missouri went, Kentucky went, but they did ironically save Ole Miss for very last. And
they did put Orgeron in the leadoff day. That was an interesting choice.
Yeah, that was smart. But he did a really good job on his first go there. So I was very impressed with Orgeron.
Orgeron might have been my favorite coach of the entire SEC Media Days. I absolutely loved it. It was so cool watching him as he walked up to the podium, started telling like this story of being, living in Louisiana and childhood, just being an LSU fan, and you just kind of got chill bumps a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then he proceeded to go name every player in his three deep and every single player from the state of Louisiana. And it was just the perfect recruiting. I mean, he gave a better recruiting pitch right there without spending a dime than all these schools do, spending millions of dollars on all these different types of recruiting pitches. I mean, that's all you have to do is play and recruit what he said in his speech at the podium. And it shows that recruit how much he cares, and not just as you as a player and getting you there, but personally, I mean, he's talking about like the left tackle, little Jimmy, who grew up, 2 dirt roads down and broke his leg in the 2nd grade swinging off the porch.
It was interesting that he did go straight for Louisiana, because here in the last few years, Nick Saban has really gone into Louisiana and basically handpicked whoever he wanted to. And so very smart, I think, by Orgeron to go ahead and make that pitch to his home state guys and just make sure that's no longer the case, that he's back in his home state and he's going to rule it from now on.
Well, he certainly wanted to make the impression known that he does not like satellite camps in any way, shape, or form because of what it's done to the home state recruiting. Does not like other teams coming in and being able to just pick apart these kids out of Louisiana. Ed wants to protect his home territory, and rightfully so, understandable. Mm-hmm. Great college programs can get the best players from around the nation, but the elite college programs will keep their best players from in-state, in-house. They will not let them go away. We remember Landon Collins from a couple of years ago, one of the biggest names in Louisiana, ends up going to Alabama, even against his mother's wishes, who wanted him to go to Baton Rouge. Yep. That is a program killer when you can't keep these top-tier players in your own home state, because they're going to care the most about your program because they grew up, listening and hearing about it throughout their entire lives. They know more about your program than any other elite athlete that's going to come in from the West Coast or the Northeast or the Mid-Atlantic or the Heartland that you could get.
Yeah, when these 5-stars go, it's what are the other guys supposed to do? They're like, well, I guess I can go too. And then you just see this mass exodus. And LSU is singular in the fact that they don't really have to share their recruiting ground with any, at least in-state, with any other SEC team. Tennessee, Alabama, Florida has to obviously share with Florida State, so that's difficult.
And reasonably in terms of distance. Mm-hmm. Closest SEC school, what is it? Would we say it's A&M at this point, or would it be Mississippi State?
Arkansas.
Is Arkansas really the closest one?
I don't know closest, but in history, Arkansas is being LSU's, and until Bama started coming in, Arkansas was LSU's biggest competitor for recruits in LSU.
Yeah, well, in terms of geographically, though. Wait, I think A&M and Houston, probably that area, probably closer to Louisiana than the University of Arkansas.
Well, I mean, Arkansas.
Little Rock is pretty high in Arkansas, right?
But are we talking about where Little Rock is or where the two states touch? Because don't they touch each other?
If I'm going to talk, well, I mean, you could point out 3 different border states. Then we're talking about both Mississippi schools and Arkansas and Texas A&M at that point, because they all border Louisiana, and they could just come in and steal their recruits. But I mean, in terms of geographically, I think you got Mississippi State, A&M, you could say Arkansas could take Northern Louisiana, but we're talking about Southern Louisiana, where those main recruits are. You go down into Baton Rouge and New Orleans and plucking kids out. Couldn't matter if you go into Monroe or Lafayette or Shreveport and taking recruits. It's that Southern Louisiana territory that Ed really is going to care about more than anything, and that's where you got to worry about in terms of geographics, A&M, Mississippi State, and of course you do have to worry about Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, who wants to has to recruit nationally because Lord knows they don't have enough recruits in their own home state. You have to defend your house at the end of the day.
I think you have to defend your borders, and and next week, kids, on Where Is Your State, we'll be covering the Northeast. But no, I think it's very important. I think you look at Georgia. Georgia is a team, they're by themselves in the SEC, but really, I mean, it's Auburn and Georgia in the SEC. You got Florida and South Georgia recruiting there.
I want to say Auburn has more Georgia players than Alabama. Now, Georgia, a lot more big-time prospects than Alabama, but still, it's worth mentioning.
There's a lot of schools that have more Georgia prospects than any other state.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 years ago, more Georgia athletes won national titles in NCAA than any other state.
I remember
By
when
the
they came
numbers,
out.
they're either the fourth or fifth biggest producer of college football recruits, along with Ohio. In that, Alabama, I think, is seventh behind Louisiana. I mean, you look at, Georgia is a massive recruiting area for the entire Southeastern Conference and the entire country. It's a big deal, and then we don't even factor in the fact that Georgia Tech, they still got to deal with an ACC school, which we'll talk about the conference comparison later on. But it's still a threat. I mean, first of all, the academics at Georgia Tech are in a lot of people's opinions superior. It's a technical, it's a technology school, so I mean, in some respects, there's that advantage to them. But so you have to deal with not just the SEC, but you got to deal with that Georgia Tech, in Metro Atlanta especially. If kids want to stay in city, you look at Tech.
Yeah, that's true. Tech, they do okay, but I think they can get better, and they will. They're definitely a team that nobody wants to see the first couple weeks of the season.
I think Georgia Tech is kind of right where they've always been and right where they'll always kind of be, and I'm glad that they're running the triple option. It sets them apart to me. Yeah. And one, I don't want to see it disappear. Like, I love the triple option.
I'm curious to see how Tennessee handles that in week one.
Yeah.
I don't think Georgia Tech would be where they are if they just ran the same gimmick offense as everybody else.
Right.
I don't think they can recruit.
Well, they have to have a good coach for that. They did when they had George O'Leary back in the late 90s, mid-2000s or so, and they had some pretty good teams. I remember they had Calvin Johnson on their team right before they switched to the triple option.
He was there with the triple option.
Yeah, but they brought him. He was brought in the previous system, which I think was more of an I formation look. The days of I think Reggie Ball was the quarterback there at one time.
Reggie Ball.
When they I believe because they beat Auburn first week. I think back in 05 or 06.
We're getting on a loose hair here. I was a little disappointed though, and it just seems like the media is scared to ask the tough questions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This whole week it was just I wanted some excitement like last year, and then you had this stuff with Houston Nutt and Hugh Freeze coming out. And I was really pumped up for Wednesday because I'm like, ooh, it's going to be a barn burner now.
Yeah, we were all hyped about it.
I was excited.
Because Houston Nutt drops the lawsuit right before, not actually dropping it, but like, you know what I mean? And he does it right before.
And it's damning.
Yeah.
It really is. It's damning to the Ole Miss program and Hugh Freeze. And, I mean, this is the last time we're probably going to see Hugh Freeze at SEC Media Days, to be completely honest with you. And
when that other shoe falls,
the
fan base loves him, but when that other shoe falls, it's...
No, these are some serious allegations, and they have a lot of proof to them and a lot of backing behind them. And if they stand, which it seems like they might, it's not good.
But if you're it'll be for Hugh Freeze leaving. If I'm Ole Miss administration, I wouldn't get rid of him because who the heck are you going to bring in at that point?
You've got to change the image of the program right now.
I get it, but I mean, at the same time, you may be better off trying to stick with Hugh and let him, if you can prove that you can get clean. But I don't know. I think back to the SMU debacle. They couldn't. They even brought in a decent coach, and I think it was Forrest Gregg, and it didn't work out. But they couldn't bring in a name after that. And if you allow yourself to try to switch coaches, I don't know who the heck you could bring in that'd be credible.
True. There's not a whole lot of big names out there.
Ole
that can
Miss,
come in and
Ole
keep it
Miss,
rolling.
Ole Miss can get the right name. They can bring in a name, but at the same time, it's Ole Miss. You remember Hugh Freeze wasn't really a name until Hugh Freeze went to Ole Miss.
That's fair.
Uh,
I mean,
Arkansas, he did really well at Arkansas.
I will
Ole Miss
say,
always does a good job of finding the right coach.
I will admit, on the positive side, Penn State was able to bring in Bill O'Brien. That worked out. Turned into James Franklin later. It can work. It's just risky business, is all I'm saying.
You know, to me, Hugh Freeze is just he's lost all credibility. If I'm a parent,
And also, what I hate to say this, what coach is going to come in with those kind of sanctions
who
on
wants
your
to deal with-
scholarships?
who wants
Who's
to
going to
deal
want to
with
come
that?
in and immediately inherit that burden?
Yeah.
You're not going to get a big name to come in.
guys,
You're going to have to get
I don't think y'all understand what slander is. Like he slandered Houston's Nuts name and sent false information
Ole Miss
out to the
did not
media.
care about Ole.
To be
didn't care
fair,
about his
Ole
name
Miss
anyway.
fans couldn't give a crap about Houston Nutt.
No, it doesn't.
After what happened.
It doesn't exactly. All the more reason to why even bring up this stuff? Why publicly throw Houston Nutt's name under the bus and say all these allegations are from his program, when at the time Houston Nutt still had an opportunity to coach.
Well, by the way,
I
which,
hear what
which,
you're
which,
saying.
which
It's
You
by
know,
the way,
it ruined Houston
But-
Nutt's chances of
which-
getting hired to another job.
which, by the way, it's been proven that more of the allegations have been from the Freeze administration.
All
But
of them.
Let's be well, not all of them. I mean, there's a couple of them
Well, a
that were
couple,
under
but-
Nutt, but not the majority.
Well, you
which
can find
is what
it-
matters.
It was a straight up smear campaign, but a combination of not having a big name out there to bring somebody in, and I mean, who else is going to come in and beat Alabama for you? Nobody.
I would say that I mean, if anything is going to
Nobody.
save Houston or save Freeze's job, that it's the fact that he is,
yeah, man.
he's beaten
Guys,
Bama two
what's
times in a row.
going on? I don't think what's going on at Ole Miss and these new allegations is something that, other than maybe Nick Saban, I don't know if any other coach could keep his job.
Oh, I'm sure plenty of there's at least a handful that could
No.
be fireproof. Can I throw out Urban Meyer?
Yeah, Saban,
You don't think
Urban
Meyer could be in
Meyer.
that group?
Meyer might could, but guys, I mean these are
Jimbo?
these are serious allegations, and he's gonna lose his job.
We'll see.
Now,
Time will
here's
tell.
now,
I will
I'm
say
gonna
this:
tell you. Go.
they may give him a season, and if he goes Terry Bowden
Yeah.
on this,
Yeah.
he'll save his job. They will not fire him at that point. I think they'll give him a season if he can do anything.
No, he'll
remotely
finish
close.
out this season.
If he can do anything remotely close to a 93 type campaign that Auburn did,
my
he'll
God.
keep his job.
I mean, 8 wins under these
yeah,
kind of
I
circumstances
agree.
and the distractions. He's good.
Yeah.
He'll finish the season
Guaranteed.
out, and then if they're smart, what they'll probably do is promote McGriff.
Do you really want to promote anybody
Okay.
from that administration if you're going to fire Freeze at this point?
McGriff, who just came in.
Yeah,
Well,
he just came
yeah, I'm
in from
okay.
the
Coming
outside.
I'm
in.
okay, and I like McGriff as a head coach. He would hire an offensive coordinator, let him do his thing, and he would handle the D. And I think McGriff will make a great head coach.
He's going to be a good defensive coordinator,
Well,
which is why
well,
I don't think that Ole Miss goes away.
we'll
The
see.
media voted them last in
You're
the
wrong.
West.
I did
and-
too.
And I don't. And
You're wrong.
I don't think they're going to be last.
You're wrong.
You don't know that.
You're wrong a lot.
You won't bet
I will
money
say
on it?
this. I will say this.
I don't bet money on anything.
Well, I voted.
Okay.
First of all, I voted them last strictly because the law of averages, and this doesn't look good for them. But Shea Patterson should not be underestimated as a
man.
quarterback.
No, I'm not underestimating
Offense should
Shea
not be
Patterson.
underestimated, and I'm not going to underestimate McGriff.
I'm not
Now,
underestimating.
next year when they don't have scholarships, here's the problem. When they lose their scholarships,
What's the
they're
problem?
going back to the bottom, but they're not going to go back to the bottom this year.
He's not
They're
bringing a
gonna
lot
find
back.
that
Shea
motivation.
Patterson is going to make plays. They're going to score points. Shea Patterson's also going to make a lot of mistakes. All right, he's that type of player. Just like Manziel made a lot of plays, he also made a lot of mistakes. Got you, Richard. Thank you. Guys, we've had you all know about our Richard moments each week. This has been one of them. You laughing now? Just wait. Where was I? I completely lost my train
Well,
of thought.
you were talking about Patterson and how he can make
Yeah,
mistakes.
but McGriff is going to improve the defense. But how much do you expect the defense to get improved from 13th in scoring defense and rushing defense in the SEC?
He doesn't have to improve it that much to get out of last place. is all I'm saying.
I will say this. I think
They're still not going to be great. They're still going to be in the bottom half of the SEC in defense.
Well,
they're going to have an
that's
average
fine.
offense with a lot of turnovers. They're going to be very young, and they're going to have nothing to play for other than themselves, which might be a motivating factor. I don't think it is. There's too many distractions. You see teams like these with distractions in the summer times. They never pan out. They always finish last.
I don't want them to pan
and
out.
I'm
I just want
telling
them
you
to
right
get
now,
sixth.
as much as I love those sweet, pretty old girls over at Ole Miss that everybody talks about, they are going to finish last in the SEC this year. Mark my word.
I will say, look,
Joe
like I
Hagan?
said,
Maybe
I predicted the same as you, but I think aside from Alabama, Auburn, LSU, that bottom, the other four can go in any direction you want it to. I think
See,
it's a
I
complete toss-up.
really think there's a clear, I think there's Alabama, Auburn, LSU is kind of in one grouping. And I think Arkansas and Mississippi State are by themselves in the second. And then it's A&M and Ole Miss.
I do know a lot of people that.
And I kind of want to put LSU in that second grouping, but they're kind of on the line because I think they could go either way.
Well, their defense proved they can keep themselves up in that upper echelon.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the question is Etling going to be any decent?
Yeah,
this
and
year?
if Sumlin doesn't get more than 8 wins, he's going to be gone because he's doing bare minimum with all this talent, all these
He can
great
go-
facilities.
He's
very mediocre.
He'll go be the OC for his twin brother Micah Tomlin over at the Steelers. But we got to.
Oh, he would love that.
We got to cut the
He would love
break.
that. Yeah.
So, host, do your job. Take us
All
to
right,
break.
everybody, we're going to take a break, pay some bills. We'll be right back with more SEC football, and we're going to be talking about the second half.
Joe
of the
Hunt
Major
coming
League-
up. Joe Hunt
Yeah,
is coming up.
Major League
next.
Football
You got to
season.
tell them that.
with Joe Hunt, Major League Baseball.
Joe Hunt.
All right.
Head to Carl Cannon. They're